Would you like to get your hands on free Digimon giveaway items, including the Ghost Rare Alphamon from Cross Encounter, or buy £1 pulls while helping charity? You can do so by joining my streams on Whatnot, where you get £10 credit when you sign up with my link. I'm raising £1,000 for the charity Refuge this month, and 100% of the money I make on Whatnot is going towards that goal, with giveaways every £100 raised. Stick around to the end of the video for more details on how you can win some cool Digimon stuff, and thank you to Whatnot for sponsoring this video. So the other day I was looking at the box for my Hawkmon Armor Digivolution figure when I noticed something interesting.
Oh my god, what is that?
The toy line really encouraged kids to mix and match the figures, to kind of use two sets of armor toy figures to make freakish armor abominations, which reminded me of a video I made a good while back specifically talking about Double Armor Digivolution in 02. And now looking at those toys and thinking about it more, I'm starting to think that that legitimately was the intention, and that Toei or Bandai did cancel Double Armor Digivolution. What is up, Digital Companions? My name is Karn EX and welcome back to a theory video. It's been a while. So yes, of course, looking at this concept from the back of the Armor Digi-Egg figures, we do have this concept of mix and matching Armor Digimon. Now, of course, this could be totally toy line exclusive, but to me, it kind of feels almost like a trial form. Maybe when they only each have one Digi-Egg, Davis and Cody would try mixing and matching and get weird forms. But when Davis finally gets two Digi-Eggs of his own, Courage and Friendship, that could have led to an armor fusion, a pure armor fusion, similar to Sagittarimon visually. Here's the straight up. With Digimon and basically any property for kids, gimmicks 9 times out of 10 are to sell toys. Armor did that, Jogress did that, Card Slash, Spirit Evolution barcodes, the list goes on. And usually the forms that are accessible with Digimon toys are referenced in the show to kind of sell more toys in a cycle. The show has something which then leads the kids to buy the toy. The toy then has something they haven't seen in the show yet, which they then see in the show, making them want to buy more of the toys, and it goes on in a circle. And this idea of trial forms is not exclusive to Digimon. There are other Bandai JP toy lines that do have this, but they're a much less marketed feature normally. They're not right there on the box. You know, technically you could put a Joker and Joker memory in a Kamen Rider Double Driver and it would work. It wouldn't make unique sounds or be show accurate, but it could be done. It's not one of the main things demonstrated to be done with the toy, you know? It's not a top billing feature to do a non-show accurate form. Or in cases like Kamen Rider Build, they're expressly demonstrated not to be something that works. If you put in 2 full bottles of the same type, it'll shout out their names on either side of the build driver, but you won't get a unique sound. Generally, non-canon forms in Bandai Japan toys, I would say, are things you can try in toy lines, but they're very rarely used to actually specifically market the figure, unlike this 02 armor mixing situation. Though I will admit this is completely anecdotal, I don't have hard evidence for this. I'm sure there are other toys, maybe even other Digimon toys, where they encourage non-standard, non-show canon forms. It probably does happen, but it still feels like it sticks out to me. Now sure, there are things like Zord Builder that Bandai US did that was kind of an example of the inverse. Non-show accurate forms being enabled, mixing your Dino Charge Zords with Zords from other series, but Bandai JP had never really had that feature. Kyoryu Mecha were not compatible with previous or following seasons, other than, you know, by doing it yourself with a kit bash. So why was this feature baked into the Armor Digivolving toys, and why was it pushed so heavily? It shares almost equal square footage with the canon show forms on the back of literally every armor figure box. And weirdly, with the first wave, Flamedramon and Halcymon elements specifically are combined. Kinda sounds like Jogress or DNA Digivolution, huh? What if the show was at one point going to explore a much more mix and match style of DNA Digivolution or armor fusion? Almost Digicross style for 02, but then it was abandoned. Probably because while it worked very easily in the toy line, animating a bunch of different mix and matches for the 02 kids would have been impossible, or at least cost a lot of money. In fact, the show does explore this concept. When the kids are talking about potential evolutions, we get things like Mega Dancermon, or the imagined Silhouette fusions which did not come to be. Stay tuned for future videos. This idea of DNA Digivolution, or indeed armor fusion, being very mix and match, very fluid, something the kids could throw together for different situations, would be really cool. And it would lend that idea to Armor Digivolution being a little bit more free. For example, hey, Armadillamon becomes Submarimon, but they're in a frozen tundra area of the digital world, so it needs a Flamedramon spike that is fiery to kind of punch through the ice ice and melt it. Situations like that. But again, would have cost a lot more in animation and character design. And they still could have had best matches, like Paildramon, Sylphimon, and Shakuamon for the general Jogress, and for armor fusion, well, yes, my front runner Sagittariusmon. Now I know there are some people who don't like Sagittariusmon as an armor fusion, don't see it, I don't know how, but I do appreciate some of the arguments against it, and I'm going to present them here. Some of those main arguments are that clearly Sagittariusmon has the Hope crest on him, and it being based on a centaur, specifically Sagittarius, the namesake of the constellation and Greek myth, does align very well with the Crest of Hope, whose main armor digivolution form is Pegasusmon, based on the Pegasus of Greek myth and the Pegasus constellation. But even so, Sagittariusmon is such a weird outlier for Hope armor digivolutions. Look at all of these other Hope armors. I mean, sure, they're all a little bit weird in comparison, but they all kind of work or feel similar. Four-legged creatures, Crest of Hope in some instances, Oryxmon, for example, I think is a really great Hope armor. Bullmon kinda works. And then Sagittariusmon, well, yes, it does have 4 legs. It's also the only centaur of the bunch. Where do these flame pauldrons come from, which to me just completely shout Flamedramon? Where does the lightning horn and black helmet come from other than Raydramon? Something I was thinking is that perhaps it's supposed to indicate that Veemon has gained the traits of the friendship and courage digimentals and can kind of use that data going forward. Remnant data inside his digicode allows him to access those when using the Digi-Egg of Hope, but also that kind of doesn't make any sense because then surely wouldn't like Magnamon also have traits of Flamedramon and Raydramon? I mean, I guess it kind of looks like a golden version of Flamedramon if you squint. This idea of the Digimental being encoded into the Digimon's DNA when they use it enough is a really fun idea, but not something the show ever actually explored. To me, it makes a lot more sense that Sagittariusmon was a design meant to mix the humanoid Flamedramon and the quadrupedal Raydramon into a design that references both, aka a centaur, half man, half beast. But when they didn't get to use it for the show, they repurposed it, realized that centaurs exist in Greek myth, Sagittarius is a constellation, it works fine. Also, if we look at the other Veemon armors, who are largely the best designed armor digivolutions of the bunch, they don't carry that same mix of Flamedramon and Raydramon that we do see specifically in Sagittariusmon. Kangaroomon has no flame decals, no lightning horn. Honeybeemon is a cute little Veemon in knowledge armor. They have the Veemon underneath, but not so much those Flamedramon and Raydramon elements. While I am absolutely not saying any of this is confirmed, it is all just a theory, a Digimon theory. I see you r/Digimon, and I very deeply appreciate the compliment, but I don't think MatPat's ever gonna do a video with me. I just almost certainly feel like armor fusion or experimenting with the idea of Jogress was on someone's mind at Bandai or Toei Creative at the time. It also makes sense to me that Veemon would get his Double Armor Digivolution designed first. He's the protagonist mon of the season in most ways, the gogglehead partner, so his designs would likely get made first. Like I say, the Veemon Armor Digivolutions are the best looking of the bunch, and that's probably because they were made closer to the time of 02, so they do what the show does, trying to make it look like the rookie is under the armor form, whereas a lot of armors for 02 partners that we see after the show are really very loosely connected, like Mambomon is a light armor, okay, Sunfish, I know, whatever. So with that said, those Veemon armors being the best of the bunch, the most show accurate or lore accurate, it would also make sense to me that if an idea was going to be explored that was then cancelled due to time, budget, it not working for the flow of the show, his Double Armor Fusion would be the one that would get designed first. And it's why Flamedramon specifically gets shown to be merging with the others on the boxes. He's the main guy, and he's also probably the first one that would try a fusion trial form. And interestingly, as the other 02 Armor Digi-Egg figures did come out, in Japan, they still kept this on the box art. It's not something that they got rid of. You can see it in the Submarimon, Shurimon, even Pegasusmon box arts. Sadly, the Nefertimon figure, while it was pre-produced, was never actually put into full production, so we never got it, possibly because they didn't think they'd make enough money from the line, which again would indicate that, yeah, maybe at one point they thought the armors were going to be the biggest selling thing of 02, so they tried to engineer a situation where armors could fuse to sell more toys, then realized that armor maybe wasn't as successful as they'd hoped, and then pivoted much stronger into the idea of evolving further. Using the champion forms unlocked after the Dark Towers were felled, creating Paildramon, Shakuamon, and Sylphimon, and repurposing the idea of melding two Digimon instead of in Digimental or Digi-Eggs, but literally two Digimon. I have no evidence or proof of this. We are not privy to very much behind the scenes information on the production of Digimon seasons other than Tamers, but even then, the lowdowns and the things that changed along the way, we generally don't get to know. But looking at this box art, looking at Sagittariusmon, this alternate world starts to form in my head where Armor Digivolution did get to double up. Like I say, with this trial form idea, which is kind of ridiculous looking, before settling on best matches, if you will. It would even fold in why Hope and Light fight as such counterparts. Davis gets 2 eggs, Yoli gets 2 eggs, Cody gets 2 eggs. They each fuse their own eggs, but then Hope and Light could fuse together. We could get a cool Patamon Gatomon armor fusion. There's a lot to explore there, which they probably never will. I think just could have happened. But ultimately, it's a knife edge, right? There are a ton of arguments as to why, and I can also see a ton of arguments as to why it's complete hokum. So let me know in the comments down below your opinion on all this. No one's objectively right, and until someone at Bandai or Toei who worked at the time can tell us everything that happened and went down at that point, we'll probably never know. But a second point to that, would you want this to have happened? Do these funky little trial forms look cool to you, and would you have liked to have seen them? And would you like to have seen Sagittariusmon for Veemon, and then a Submarimon Digimon fusion, a Shurimon Halcymon fusion in 02 itself, maybe a fusion of Pegasusmon and Nefertimon? Well, if you do want to see what armor fusions might look like, that video I did do a few years ago, I used some custom art from a very talented artist. You should definitely go check that out. They're very cool. And maybe we'll revisit the concept in a custom art in future, though I've got a different custom art plan for 02. Actually, about 4 custom arts for 02 planned for the rest of the year. Huge shout out to my sponsor for this video, Whatnot, by the way. I know sponsors click off, but you really don't want to. We're raising £1,000 for Refuge this month. Refuge is the charity that helps women and children experiencing domestic violence in the UK. We've had giveaways every £100, including a Digimon X V pet, an entire booster box of EX1, a bunch of Digimon game codes thanks to Bandai Namco UK, and we'll be giving away a Digivice Jewel V, booster boxes, and yes, that Alphamon Ghost Rare. These giveaways are only possible on Whatnot because Whatnot has an integrated giveaway function. Anyone in chat can just click enter onto a giveaway and they are entered. When I open booster boxes of cards, I sell them off with auctions starting at £1, and you can use that £10 credit that you get from Whatnot if you're in the UK to buy stuff from me for £10 less. So if a card ends up selling for £10, you get it for just the price of shipping. When you spend that credit, that also generates money that is given to Refuge. So you're doing a good thing and getting Digimon cards and Digimon goodies in the process. So thank you to Whatnot for sponsoring this video. Thank you for watching. Thank you to my wonderful sovereigns, Mickey D343, Jmon, and ZDK14, as well as all my other wonderful channel members supporting this channel with their hard-earned money. I really do appreciate you so much. And I'll see you next time when we go digital. Bye bye.